The Galactic Ultimatum. The day Earth's skies turned purple was the day humanity realized it was no longer alone in the universe. It was a Tuesday, unremarkable until every screen on the planet flickered to life, simultaneously, broadcasting a message that would change the course of human history forever. Admiral Zara Chen stood ramrod straight in the United Nations Security Council chamber, her eyes fixed on the holographic display hovering above the center of the room. The alien's features were unsettlingly familiar, yet undeniably foreign, vaguely humanoid with iridescent skin and eyes that seemed to swirl with galaxies. People of Earth, the alien's voice resonated, a symphony of tones that seemed to bypass their ears and speak directly to their minds. We are the Galactic Concordat, a coalition of advanced civilizations that oversee this sector of the universe. Your species has been observed for centuries, and we have reached a decision. The chamber, filled with world leaders and military personnel, held its collective breath. Humanity has been deemed too volatile, too unpredictable to join galactic society. You have 72 Earth rotations to surrender your planet and submit to relocation. Resistance will result in unfortunate consequences. The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving the room in stunned silence. For a moment, no one moved, as if frozen in time by the weight of the ultimatum. Then, chaos erupted. "This is preposterous," the Russian representative shouted, slamming his fist on the table. "We will not surrender to these aliens. But how can we possibly fight them?" The French diplomat countered, her voice trembling. "If they can turn our skies purple, what else are they capable of?" Admiral Chen's voice cut through the pandemonium like a laser through steel. Enough. The room fell silent, all eyes turning to the formidable woman who had risen through the ranks to become Earth's foremost military strategist. Panic serves no one. We need a plan, and we need it now. As the arguments resumed at a more measured pace, Chen's mind raced. She had always known this day might come, had prepared for it in ways even her closest colleagues couldn't imagine. Now, it was time to reveal the ace up humanity's sleeve. "Mr. Secretary General," Chen said, her voice low but commanding. "There's something you need to know, something that could change everything." Before she could continue, a commotion at the chamber's entrance drew everyone's attention. A young woman burst in, her lab coat fluttering behind her like a cape. Security personnel moved to intercept her, but Chen held up a hand, recognizing the intruder. "Dr. Amelia Frost," Chen announced, a hint of a smile playing at her lips. "I was just about to mention you." Frost, a prodigy in the field of quantum physics, looked around the room with wide eyes, as if just realizing where she had ended up. I'm sorry for the interruption, but this couldn't wait." She held up a small, glowing device. "I've done it. It works." The Secretary General leaned forward, intrigued despite the gravity of the situation. "What works, Dr. Frost?" Frost took a deep breath, her excitement palpable. "The quantum entanglement communicator. We can talk to them, to anyone in the universe, instantaneously." The room erupted in murmurs. Chen nodded, unsurprised. "This, ladies and gentlemen, is our ace. For the past decade, a secret international task force has been preparing for this very scenario. Dr. Frost's invention is just one piece of the puzzle." As Chen began to outline the extent of humanity's hidden preparations, the mood in the room shifted from despair to cautious hope. Unbeknownst to the Galactic Concordat, Earth had not been idle in the face of potential cosmic threats. "We've reversed engineered technology from crashed alien crafts," Chen revealed, ignoring the gasps of surprise. "We have shielding capabilities, advanced propulsion systems, and weapons that could give us a fighting chance." The Chinese representative leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "Why are we only hearing about this now?" Chen's expression hardened. "Because, Mr. Li, secrets keep us safe. If we had announced these developments, we would have drawn unwanted attention. Now, that attention has found us anyway, and it's time to show our hand." As the implications sank in, A new voice spoke up, calm, measured, and unexpectedly young. All heads turned to the back of the room, where a man in his early 30s stood, his simple attire a stark contrast to the formal wear of the diplomats. "You're missing the point," he said, his voice carrying a quiet authority that belied his years. "All this technology, it's impressive, sure, but it's not what will save us." "And who might you be?" the Secretary General asked, a mix of curiosity and irritation in his tone. Quinn smiled, a glimmer of mischief in his eyes. "By doing what humans do best, adapting, innovating, and surprising the hell out of everyone." Over the next hour, Quinn outlined a plan so audacious, so quintessentially human, that it left the room alternately stunned and exhilarated. It was a plan that combined Chen's military strategy, Frost's technological breakthrough, and Quinn's deep understanding of human nature and history. As the details fell into place, a sense of purpose filled the chamber. This was humanity's moment, not just to survive, but to prove its worth to the cosmos. "It's risky," Chen said as Quinn finished his proposal. "1,000 things could go wrong." Quinn nodded, his expression serious. "Yes, but 1,000 things could go right. That's the beauty of being human. We thrive on beating the odds." The Secretary General looked around the room, seeing determination replace fear in the eyes of Earth's leaders. "Then let's put it to a vote. All in favor of implementing Professor Quinn's plan, say aye." The response was unanimous, a chorus of voices united in purpose. As the meeting adjourned and the world's leaders dispersed to set the plan in motion, Chen approached Quinn. "That was quite a performance, Professor. Where did you really come from?" Quinn's enigmatic smile returned. "Would you believe me if I said the future?" Chen raised an eyebrow. "After everything I've seen, I'm prepared to believe a lot of things." "Good," Quinn replied, his expression turning serious. "Because what's coming next is going to test the limits of belief for everyone, human and alien alike." As they left the chamber, the purple sky outside seemed less ominous, more like a canvas awaiting humanity's next great work. The Galactic Concordat had issued their ultimatum, but they had fundamentally misunderstood one crucial fact. When backed into a corner, humanity doesn't cower. It strikes back. Operation Cosmic Bluff. The next 48 hours were a whirlwind of activity as humanity prepared for its most ambitious endeavor yet. Operation Cosmic Bluff, as it had been dubbed, was a high-stakes gamble that would either secure Earth's place in the galactic community or doom it to extinction. In a repurposed aircraft hangar outside of Geneva, Elias Quinn paced back and forth, his eyes darting between holographic displays showing the progress of various aspects of the plan. Admiral Chen stood nearby, her stoic demeanor betraying only the slightest hint of concern. "Are you sure about this, Quinn?" Chen asked, her voice low. "We're betting the fate of our entire species on your theory." Quinn paused, running a hand through his disheveled hair. "No, I'm not sure, but I am certain that this is our best shot. Humanity has always thrived when pushing boundaries, when doing the unexpected. This is just on a slightly larger scale." "Slightly," Chen muttered, a rare smile tugging at her lips. "Dr. Frost, how are we looking on the quantum entanglement front?" Amelia Frost looked up from her workstation, dark circles under her eyes betraying her lack of sleep. "We've successfully established a stable connection. The Galactic Concordat won't know what hit them." As if on cue, the hangar's massive doors began to open, revealing a sight that would have been unthinkable just days ago. A fleet of sleek, otherworldly ships hovered silently, their hulls gleaming with an iridescence that seemed to defy normal light. "Beautiful, aren't they?" a gruff voice said. The group turned to see General Marcus Donovan, head of Earth's newly revealed Space Force, approaching. "Reversed engineered from every scrap of alien tech we could get our hands on over the past few decades. She's not wrong, you know." He nodded towards Frost. "The Concordat is in for one hell of a surprise." Quinn nodded appreciatively. "And the crews?" "The best of the best," Donovan replied. "Pilots, engineers, and scientists from every nation. They'd been training in secret for years, preparing for a day we hoped would never come. As they spoke, a commotion near the hangar entrance drew their attention. A group of people in elaborate costumes was being ushered in, led by a woman with a determined stride and a tablet clutched to her chest. "Ah, right on time," Quinn said, his eyes lighting up. "Everyone, meet Sophie Nkosi, our secret weapon in the realm of cultural diplomacy." Nkosi approached the group, her expression a mix of excitement and trepidation. "Professor Quinn, everything's ready on our end, though I still can't quite believe we're doing this." "Believe it," Quinn replied with a grin. "Your team's role is crucial. If we can't fight them with firepower, we'll dazzle them with the full spectrum of human creativity and culture." As Nkosi began to outline her part of the plan, involving a mind-bending combination of art, music, and performance from cultures across the globe, Chen's communicator buzzed. Her expression darkened as she read the message. "We've got movement in the outer solar system," she announced, her voice cutting through the chatter. "A Concordat fleet has just appeared near Jupiter. It looks like they're not planning to wait the full 72 hours. The room fell silent, the weight of the moment pressing down on everyone present. Quinn took a deep breath, squaring his shoulders. "Then neither will we. General Donovan, is the Trojan horse ready?" Donovan nodded grimly. "Locked and loaded, though I still think this part of the plan is certifiably insane." "That's the point," Quinn replied. "Humanity 101, when faced with an overwhelming force, do the one thing they'd never expect." As the various teams scrambled to their positions, Quinn found himself standing before the assembled crowd of soldiers, scientists, and artists, an unlikely coalition representing the best of humanity. "I know many of you have doubts," he began, his voice carrying across the hangar. "You're wondering why we're not simply preparing for war, why we're embarking on this elaborate ruse. The answer is simple, because it's who we are." He gestured to the ships, the quantum entanglement devices, the costumes and instruments. "Look around you. In just 2 days, we've achieved what many thought impossible. We've united, not in fear, but in hope. We're not just fighting for our survival, we're fighting for our right to show the universe who we truly are." A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. "The Galactic Concordat thinks they know us, that they can predict our actions. They're wrong. We are humanity. Adaptable, resilient, and endlessly surprising. Today, we're going to remind the cosmos why that makes us special." As Quinn's words sank in, a new energy filled the hangar. The fear and uncertainty that had permeated the air began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of purpose and determination. Admiral Chen stepped forward. "You all know your roles. This is not a drill, not a simulation. The fate of our species rests on what we do in the next few hours. But remember this. No matter what happens up there, Earth stands with you. All of humanity stands with you." With a final nod from Quinn, the operation sprang into action. The fleet of reverse-engineered ships began to lift off, their advanced propulsion systems allowing them to accelerate at rates that would have liquefied any human occupants. But these ships were empty, a high-tech smokescreen designed to give the illusion of a far more advanced Earth than the Concordat had bargained for. As the decoy fleet streaked towards the outer solar system, the real plan was unfolding in near-Earth orbit. A single ship, cobbled together from spare parts and held together more by human ingenuity than any advanced technology, prepared for its mission. Aboard this vessel, dubbed the Trojan Horse by Quinn, an unlikely crew made their final preparations. Dr. Frost fiddled with the quantum entanglement communicator, ensuring it was ready for its galactic debut. Sophie Nkosi and her team of artists and performers rehearsed their roles one last time, their elaborate costumes a riot of color in the sterile spacecraft environment. And at the helm, looking decidedly uncomfortable in a spacesuit, sat Elias Quinn himself. "Remind me again why I'm up here," he muttered into his comm, a bead of sweat trickling down his forehead despite the suit's cooling systems. Chen's voice crackled back, a hint of amusement in her tone. Because, Professor, this was your idea. And if there's one thing I've learned in my military career, it's that the person who comes up with the crazy plan should be on the front lines to see it through. Quinn chuckled nervously. Fair enough. Though I'm starting to think I should have paid more attention in my high school physics classes. Too late for regrets now, Chen replied. Cosmic bluff is a go. Good luck up there, Quinn. Show them what humanity's made of. As the communication cut off, Quinn looked around at his eclectic crew, scientists, artists, and a handful of military personnel who had volunteered for this insane mission. Well, folks, he said, trying to inject some confidence into his voice, let's go make first contact. Again. The Trojan horse shuddered as its engines fired up, pushing it out of Earth's orbit and on a trajectory to intercept the incoming Concordat fleet. As they accelerated, Quinn couldn't help but marvel at the absurdity of their plan. They were about to face an advanced alien civilization with nothing but a half-broken spaceship, a revolutionary communication device, and the collected artistic and cultural achievements of human history. It was, he reflected, the most human thing imaginable. As they approached the massive Concordat ships lurking near Jupiter, Dr. Frost gave Quinn a thumbs up. The quantum entanglement communicator was online, ready to broadcast their message across the vast distances of space instantaneously. Quinn took a deep breath, glancing at Nkosi, who nodded encouragingly. It was time. Galactic Concordat. He began, his voice steady despite the terror threatening to overwhelm him. This is Professor Elias Quinn of Earth. We've received your ultimatum, and we have a counter-proposal. We request a parley, a chance to show you who we really are. For a moment, there was only silence. Then, a response came through, the same multi-tone voice they had heard in the initial transmission. Curious, the alien voice said. Your species continues to surprise us. Very well, Earth representative. You may approach, but be warned. Any sign of hostility will be met with immediate destruction. As the Trojan horse was enveloped in a tractor beam, pulled towards the immense Concordat mothership, Quinn exchanged glances with his crew. This was it, the moment that would determine the fate of humanity. Remember, he said, his voice barely above a whisper, no matter what happens next, we've already achieved the impossible. We've made them curious. As the airlock cycled and the doors prepared to open, Quinn straightened his back, ready to face whatever alien life forms waited on the other side. In that moment, he felt the weight of all human history behind him, pushing him forward into an uncertain but potentially brilliant future. The doors slid open, and humanity stepped onto the galactic stage. The turning of the tide. The alien chamber was vast, its walls shimmering with an otherworldly iridescence that seemed to shift and change with each passing moment. Elias Quinn led his small team forward, their footsteps echoing in the cavernous space. Before them, arranged in a semicircle, stood the representatives of the Galactic Concordat, a diverse array of beings that defied easy description. At the center, towering over the others, was a creature that seemed to be composed of pure energy, its form barely contained within a translucent exoskeleton. When it spoke, it was with the same multi-tone voice they had heard in the transmissions. Humans, the being said, its voice resonating through their bodies, you stand before the Council of the Galactic Concordat. Explain your presence and your proposal. Quinn stepped forward, fighting to keep his voice steady. Esteemed members of the Concordat, we come before you not to plead for our lives, but to challenge your understanding of who we are. He gestured to his team. We've brought with us a sampling of our culture, our art, our science, the very essence of what makes us human. We ask for the opportunity to share this with you, to show you that humanity is not a threat to be eliminated, but a potential ally to be embraced. The energy being tilted its head, a gesture surprisingly human in its curiosity. Intriguing. You may proceed. What followed was a spectacle unlike anything the Concordat had ever witnessed. Sophie Nkosi and her team launched into a performance that blended music, dance, and visual arts from cultures across Earth. The chamber filled with the haunting notes of a Japanese shakuhachi flute, seamlessly transitioning into the rhythmic beats of West African drums. Dancers moved in intricate patterns, their bodies telling stories of human triumph and tragedy. As the performance unfolded, Dr. Frost quietly activated her quantum entanglement communicator. Suddenly, the chamber was filled with holographic displays showcasing the breadth of human scientific achievement, from the first heavier-than-air flight to the latest advancements in quantum physics. Quinn watched the alien representatives carefully, noting with growing hope the way they leaned forward, their attention fully captured by the display of human creativity and ingenuity. But it was what came next that truly began to turn the tide. "Esteemed Concordat," Quinn said as the performance reached its crescendo, "what you've seen is but a fraction of who we are. But perhaps the most human thing we can show you is this: our ability to learn, to grow, to become more than we were." He nodded to Dr. Frost, who activated another function of the quantum entanglement device. Suddenly, the air around them shimmered, and holographic representations of Earth's hastily assembled space fleet appeared. Guests, or what passed for guests among the diverse alien species, echoed through the chamber. "Yes," Quinn confirmed, a hint of pride in his voice. "In the mere days since receiving your ultimatum, humanity has achieved what you thought impossible. We've reverse-engineered technology from scavenged alien crafts. We've united our planet in ways we never thought possible, and we've come here, across the vast distances of space, to talk." The energy being's form fluctuated, its light pulsing rapidly. "Impossible," it said, though there was a note of uncertainty in its voice. "No species could advance so quickly." "With all due respect," Quinn replied, allowing a small smile to play across his lips, "that's where you're wrong. Rapid adaptation, innovative thinking, these are the hallmarks of humanity. You saw our conflicts, our struggles, and assumed we were too volatile. But those very traits are what drive us to greatness." As if to punctuate his point, an alert chimed from Dr. Frost's device. Her eyes widened as she read the incoming message. "Professor," she whispered urgently, "it's Admiral Chen. You need to see this." Quinn glanced at the message and felt his heart race. He looked up at the Concordat representatives, his expression a mix of determination and barely concealed excitement. "Members of the Concordat," he announced, his voice ringing clear through the chamber, "I've just received word that, in our absence, Earth has achieved another breakthrough. We've successfully harnessed the power of zero-point energy." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien voices, each species communicating in its own unique way. The energy being at the center raised its appendages, calling for silence. This changes things," it admitted, its form flickering rapidly. "If what you say is true, your species has demonstrated an unprecedented rate of technological advancement." Quinn nodded solemnly. "It's true. And it's just the beginning. Imagine what we could achieve as allies rather than adversaries. The Concordat prides itself on overseeing this sector of the universe. Wouldn't you rather have humanity working with you than against you?" As the Concordat representatives conferred among themselves, their communications a dizzying array of colors, sounds, and electromagnetic pulses, Quinn turned to his team. "This is it," he whispered. "We've given them something to think about. Now we just have to hope it's enough." Sophie Nkosi squeezed his arm reassuringly. "We've shown them our heart, Professor. If that's not enough, nothing will be." After what felt like an eternity, the energy being turned its attention back to the humans. "Your display has been enlightening," it said. "We require time to deliberate on this new information. You will be escorted to quarters where you will await our decision." As they were led away by silent, robotic attendants, Quinn couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. They had come here expecting to face their extinction. Instead, they had been given a chance, however slim, to change their fate. In their assigned quarters, a spacious, if alien, suite that seemed designed to accommodate a variety of life forms. The team gathered to take stock of their situation. "Well," Dr. Frost said, breaking the tense silence, "I'd say that went about as well as we could have hoped." Quinn nodded, pacing the room restlessly. "We've made an impression, that's for sure. But we're not out of the woods yet. The Concordat could still decide we're too unpredictable, too dangerous to be allowed into the galactic community." Or, Cozy interjected, her eyes shining with optimism, "they could recognize the potential of having humanity as an ally. Our adaptability, our creativity. These are assets, not liabilities." As they discussed the possible outcomes, a subtle vibration ran through the ship. Quinn rushed to the viewport, his eyes widening at the sight before him. In the distance, barely visible against the backdrop of Jupiter's swirling storms, Earth's hastily assembled fleet had arrived. The ships moved with a grace that belied their cobbled-together nature, forming a defensive perimeter around the Trojan horse. It seems Admiral Chen wasn't content to wait on the sidelines. Quinn mused, a mix of admiration and concern in his voice. Dr. Frost joined him at the viewport, her expression thoughtful. "It's a bold move. We're showing the Concordat that we're not helpless, that we can stand toe-to-toe with them if necessary." "But will they see it as a sign of strength or as a threat?" Nkosi asked, voicing the concern they all shared. Before anyone could respond, the door to their quarters slid open. The energy being entered, its form seeming to fill the room with an electric charge. "Humans," it said, its tone unreadable, "the Concordat has reached a decision." Quinn straightened, squaring his shoulders as he prepared to face whatever verdict the aliens had reached. "We're ready to hear it," he said, his voice steady despite the fear coursing through him. The energy being seen to hesitate, an almost human gesture that gave Quinn a flicker of hope. "Your species has surprised us," it finally said. "In all our millennia of overseeing this sector, we have never encountered a race quite like yours." It paused, as if choosing its words carefully. "Your potential for destruction is great. This much we knew. But your potential for creation, for innovation, this we underestimated. The Concordat has decided that humanity is too valuable, too unique, to be simply relocated or eliminated." A collective sigh of relief swept through the human team, but Quinn remained cautious. "What does this mean for Earth?" he asked. "It means," the energy being replied, "that we would like to extend an invitation. Not to surrender, but to join. The Galactic Concordat would be honored to welcome humanity as its newest member." The room erupted in cheers, the tension of the past days finally breaking. Quinn found himself laughing, tears of joy and relief streaming down his face. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity had secured its place among the stars. As the celebration continued around him, Quinn turned back to the viewport, gazing out at the assembled fleets, human and alien side by side. It was a sight he had never dared to imagine. Yet here it was, the dawn of a new era for humanity. The tide had turned. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. As Quinn watched the stars twinkling in the vast expanse of space, he couldn't help but smile. The universe had just become a whole lot bigger, and humanity was ready to explore every inch of it. The journey that had begun with a threat of extinction was now poised to become the greatest adventure in human history. And Quinn, along with the rest of humanity, was eager to see where it would lead. Diplomacy and deception. The weeks following humanity's acceptance into the Galactic Concordat were a whirlwind of activity. Earth buzzed with excitement and apprehension as the reality of their new galactic status began to sink in. Ilias Quinn found himself at the center of it all, thrust into the role of Earth's primary liaison to the Concordat. The United Nations headquarters in New York had been transformed into a hub of interstellar diplomacy. Alien delegates from across the galaxy mingled with human diplomats, their diverse forms and communication methods creating a cacophony of sights and sounds that would have been unimaginable just months ago. Quinn stood at the podium, addressing a mixed audience of humans and aliens. Today marks a new chapter in human history, he began, his voice carrying across the assembly hall. We stand on the threshold of a grand adventure, ready to take our place among the stars. But with this great opportunity comes great responsibility. As he continued his speech, outlining the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead, Quinn couldn't shake a nagging feeling of unease. Something about the Concordat's sudden change of heart didn't sit right with him, but he couldn't put his finger on why. His thoughts were interrupted by a commotion at the back of the hall. A group of protesters had managed to breach security, their signs denouncing the alien presence on Earth. Humans first, they chanted, their voices rising above the startled murmurs of the crowd. Security quickly moved to contain the situation, but the damage was done. Quinn could see the alien delegates shifting uncomfortably, their body language, or equivalent, radiating concern. As the session adjourned, Quinn found himself cornered by Jorax, the energy being who had become the Concordat's primary representative to Earth. Troubling display, Professor Quinn, Jorax said, its form flickering with what Quinn had come to recognize as agitation. We had hoped such primitive attitudes would not persist now that Earth has joined the galactic community. Quinn sighed, running a hand through his hair. Change takes time, Jorax. Humanity has come a long way in a short period, but we can't expect everyone to adapt overnight. Jorax's form pulsed, a gesture Quinn had learned indicated skepticism. Perhaps, but the Concordat is concerned. There are those among us who question whether humanity is truly ready for the responsibilities of galactic citizenship. Before Quinn could respond, he felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned to see Admiral Chen, her expression grim. Professor, we need to talk. Now. Excusing himself from Jorax, Quinn followed Chen to a secure room, his sense of unease growing with each step. Once the door was sealed, Chen activated a device that filled the room with a soft hum. A signal jammer, Quinn realized. We have a problem, Chen said without preamble. Our deep space monitoring stations have picked up unusual activity near the edge of the solar system. It looks like a Concordat fleet, but it's not one they told us about. Quinn frowned. Could it be a miscommunication? We're still learning how to interpret their technology. Chen shook her head. No, this is deliberate. They're trying to hide something from us. And there's more. She hesitated, as if weighing her next words carefully. We've intercepted communications suggesting that not all members of the Concordat are happy with the decision to welcome us into the fold. Some are pushing for more drastic measures. Quinn felt a chill run down his spine. You think they're planning to go back on their word? To attack us? I think, Chen said slowly, that we need to be prepared for any possibility. The Concordat isn't as united as they'd like us to believe. There are factions, competing interests, and we're caught in the middle. As the implications of Chen's words sank in, Quinn's mind raced. We need more information, he said finally. We can't act on suspicions alone. If we make the wrong move, we could jeopardize everything we've worked for. Chen nodded, a grim smile on her face. That's where you come in, Professor. We need someone on the inside, someone the Concordat trusts. You're going to become our secret weapon. Over the next few days, Quinn found himself pulled into a world of covert operations and hidden agendas. By day, he continued his role as Earth's diplomatic face, smoothing over tensions and building relationships with alien delegates. But by night, he worked with Chen and a select team of operatives, sifting through intercepted communications and piecing together the true nature of the Concordat's intentions. It was during one of these late-night sessions that they made a breakthrough. Dr. Frost, who had been analyzing the quantum entanglement patterns of Concordat communications, burst into the room, her eyes wide with excitement and fear. You're not going to believe this, she said, pulling up a holographic display. I've managed to decrypt some of their more secure channels. It's worse than we thought. The display showed a star map of the galaxy, with Earth highlighted in red. Around it, moving in complex patterns, were symbols representing various Concordat factions. They're not just watching us, Frost explained, her voice tight. They're positioning for a full-scale invasion. The faction that wanted us eliminated. They're making their move. Quinn felt the blood drain from his face. But why? We've done everything they asked. We've shared our technology, our resources. Chen's expression hardened. Because we're too good at it. We're advancing too quickly. Some of them see us as a threat to the established order. As they digested this grim news, Quinn's communicator buzzed. It was a message from Jorax, requesting an urgent meeting. Quinn exchanged glances with Chen, who nodded grimly. "Go," she said, "but be careful. We don't know who we can trust anymore." Quinn made his way to the designated meeting spot, a quiet garden on the outskirts of the UN complex. Jorax was waiting, its energy form dimmed as if trying to avoid attention. "Professor Quinn," Jorax said, its voice lower than usual. "I fear I have made a terrible mistake." Quinn's heart raced, but he kept his expression neutral. "What do you mean, Jorax?" The alien's form flickered rapidly, a sign of extreme distress. I was not entirely truthful with you. The decision to welcome humanity into the Concordat was not unanimous. There are those who see your species as a threat, one that must be eliminated before it grows too powerful. Quinn fought to keep his voice steady. "And you're telling me this now because I have come to believe they are wrong," Jorax replied. "I have watched your people, study your history, your capacity for growth, for change. It is unlike anything we have seen before. I fear that in their haste to contain you, my colleagues may destroy something precious." As Jorax continued, revealing details of the planned invasion and the factions involved, Quinn listened intently, his mind working overtime. This could be the break they needed, or it could be an elaborate trap. "Why should I believe you?" Quinn asked finally. "How do I know this isn't just another layer of deception?" Jorax's form pulsed softly. "You don't. But consider this. If I wanted to deceive you, why reveal our plans at all? Why not simply let events unfold?" Quinn had to admit, the alien had a point, but years of academic skepticism had taught him to question everything. "If what you're saying is true, what do you propose we do about it?" "We must act quickly," Jorax said. "There is a meeting of the Concordat High Council in 3 days. If we can present evidence of humanity's value, of the short-sightedness of this invasion plan, we may be able to sway enough members to our side." Quinn nodded slowly, his mind already formulating a plan. "I'll need to consult with my colleagues. But thank you, Jorax. Whatever happens next, know that your warning is appreciated." As he hurried back to report to Chen, Quinn couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking a tightrope over an abyss. One wrong move, one misplaced trust, and everything could come crashing down. But as he looked up at the night sky, now teeming with the promise of new worlds and new civilizations, he felt a surge of determination. Humanity had come too far to falter now. They had faced extinction and emerged stronger. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Quinn knew that humans would face them with the same ingenuity, courage, and adaptability that had brought them to the stars. The game of galactic diplomacy and deception was reaching its climax, and humanity was playing for keeps. Humanity's triumph. The Concordat High Council chamber was a marvel of alien architecture, a vast dome that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Its translucent walls shimmered with star-like points of light, creating the illusion that the assembled delegates were floating in space. At the center of this cosmic theater stood Elias Quinn, feeling very small and very human. Beside him, Admiral Chen stood at parade rest, her uniform crisp and her expression unreadable. Dr. Frost fidgeted with a small device in her hands, a nervous energy radiating from her. And slightly apart, its energy form dimmed to a soft glow, hovered Jorax. The chamber was filled with representatives from every corner of the galaxy, their forms as varied as the stars themselves. Some were recognizably humanoid, Others defied easy description. All eyes, or sensory organs, were fixed on the small group of humans at the center. Esteemed members of the Concordat, Quinn began, his voice steady despite the fear churning in his gut. We stand before you today, not as supplicants, but as equals. We come with evidence of a plot that threatens not just humanity, but the very foundations of this august body. A murmur ran through the assembled aliens, a cacophony of sounds that the universal translators struggled to interpret. Quinn pressed on, undeterred. We have uncovered plans for an unsanctioned invasion of Earth, orchestrated by factions within the Concordat who fear humanity's potential. But I put it to you that this fear is misplaced, that in seeking to contain us, these factions risk losing a valuable ally. With a nod from Quinn, Dr. Frost activated her device. The air above them shimmered, and suddenly the chamber was filled with holographic displays showcasing the breadth of human achievement. From the pyramids of Egypt to the International Space Station, from Shakespeare's sonnets to Einstein's equations, the history of human innovation and creativity played out before the alien audience. In the brief time since we joined the galactic community, Quinn continued, his voice rising with passion, humanity has made unprecedented advancements. We've adapted your technologies, yes, but we've also improved upon them. Our scientists have already proposed refinements to your faster-than-light drives. Our artists have created new forms of expression that blend human and alien aesthetics. He gestured to Admiral Chen, who stepped forward. And yes, we have prepared defenses, not out of aggression, but out of a deep-seated human drive to protect what we love. We cherish our world, our freedom, our potential. We will fight for it if we must, but we would much rather stand with you as allies and friends. As Quinn spoke, he could see the alien delegates reacting. Some leaned forward, clearly intrigued. Others shifted uncomfortably, their body language or equivalent, suggesting skepticism or concern. Suddenly, a harsh, grating voice cut through the murmurs. Pretty words and prettier pictures, human. But they do not change the fact that your species is unpredictable, dangerous. You speak of peace while preparing for war. How can we trust such duplicity? The speaker was a towering insectoid being, its carapace gleaming under the starlight. Quinn recognized it as Vexilor, the leader of the hardline faction that had been pushing for Earth's elimination. Quinn met Vexilor's compound eyes steadily. Trust is earned, Counselor Vexilor. We ask only for the chance to earn it. But I would remind you that duplicity cuts both ways. While we have been open about our defensive preparations, others have been less forthcoming about their offensive ones. With another nod to Dr. Frost, the holographic display changed. Now it showed the movements of the hidden Concordat fleet, the intercepted communications planning the invasion. The chamber erupted in a chaos of alien voices. Vexilor's mandibles clicked furiously. This is outrageous. How dare you spy on Concordat operations? How dare you plan an unsanctioned attack on a member world? Admiral Chen countered, her voice cutting through the din. An attack that violates not just the spirit, but the letter of the Concordat Charter. As accusations flew back and forth, Quinn noticed Jorax moving to the center of the chamber. Its energy form brightened, pulsing with a light that commanded attention. Enough! Jorax's multi-toned voice resonated through the chamber. I can confirm the veracity of the humans' claims. I was part of the faction that feared them, that planned to contain them. But I have seen the error of this thinking. A hush fell over the assembled delegates as Jorax continued. In all our millennia of existence, the Concordat has never encountered a species quite like humanity. Their capacity for growth, for adaptation, is unparalleled. Yes, this makes them unpredictable. Yes, this makes them potentially dangerous. But it also makes them invaluable. Jorax's form pulsed brightly. I have studied their history, their art, their sciences. In the span of a few thousand years, they have gone from cave paintings to quantum computing. Imagine what they could achieve in 1,000 more, working alongside us. Are we so afraid of change that we would destroy such potential? As Zorax's words sank in, Quinn could see the mood of the chamber shifting. Even Vexilor seemed taken aback, its aggressive posture softening slightly. Seizing the moment, Quinn stepped forward once more. "Members of the Concordat, we do not ask you to trust us blindly. We ask only for the chance to prove ourselves, to work alongside you, to learn from you, and yes, to teach you. We are not perfect. Our history is filled with conflict, with mistakes. But it is also filled with triumphs, with moments of breathtaking beauty and staggering innovation." He spread his arms wide, encompassing the entire chamber. "Look around you. This very chamber, this gathering of beings from across the galaxy, would have been nothing but a dream to our ancestors. Yet here we stand. We have faced our own extinction and emerged stronger, more united. We have seen the majesty of the cosmos and felt not fear, but wonder. We are humanity, and we are ready to take our place among the stars." As Quinn's words echoed through the chamber, a new sound began to rise. It started softly, but quickly grew in volume and intensity. It took Quinn a moment to realize what it was. Applause. Not just from the human delegation, but from alien representatives across the chamber. Even those physiologically incapable of clapping were making gestures or sounds of approval. The vote, when it came, was nearly unanimous. The invasion plans were scrapped, the hardline factions censured. Earth's position in the Concordat was not just secured, but elevated. Humanity would have a seat on the High Council, a voice in shaping galactic policy. As the session adjourned and congratulations poured in from all sides, Quinn felt a wave of relief wash over him. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity had not just survived, but thrived. Admiral Chen approached, a rare smile on her face. "Well done, Professor. I don't think I've ever seen a room full of aliens so thoroughly charmed." Quinn chuckled, the tension of the past weeks finally releasing. "I had a lot of help. We all did our part." Dr. Frost joined them, her eyes shining with excitement. "Can you believe it? We're going to have access to the Concordat scientific archives. The advancements we could make." As they discussed the implications of their new status, Zorax drifted over. Its energy form was glowing brightly, radiating what Quinn had come to recognize as joy. "Professor Quinn," Zorax said, its tones harmonious, "I believe congratulations are in order. You have not just saved your species, but you may well have saved the Concordat from its own short-sightedness." Quinn nodded gratefully. "We couldn't have done it without you, Zorax. Your support was crucial." "Perhaps," Zorax replied. "But it was humanity's spirit, your indomitable will, that truly won the day. I look forward to seeing what your species will accomplish as full members of the galactic community." As they made their way out of the chamber, Quinn paused at a viewport, gazing out at the star-filled expanse. Earth was out there somewhere, a tiny blue marble in the vastness of space, but it didn't seem so small anymore. Now it was the starting point of humanity's greatest adventure. "Penny for your thoughts, Professor," Chen asked, joining him at the viewport. Quinn smiled, his eyes still fixed on the stars. "I was just thinking about how far we've come. A few months ago, we were facing extinction. Now we're helping to shape the future of the galaxy." Chen nodded, her expression thoughtful. "It's a big responsibility. There will be challenges ahead, new threats to face." "No doubt," Quinn agreed. "But if there's one thing I've learned through all this, it's that humanity is at its best when faced with a challenge. We adapt, we innovate, we surprise even ourselves." As if to underscore his point, a group of alien delegates approached, eager to discuss potential collaborations and cultural exchanges. Quinn watched as Dr. Frost launched into an excited explanation of a new scientific theory, her hands gesticulating wildly as the aliens listened in rapt attention. This, Quinn realized, was humanity's triumph. Not just surviving, but thriving. Not just being accepted, but being embraced. They had faced the universe's judgment and emerged not just unscathed, but elevated. As he turned to engage with the delegates, Quinn felt a sense of limitless possibility. The stars were no longer distant points of light, but future homes, future adventures. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger world, and the galaxy would never be the same. The future, vast and bright and full of wonders, beckoned, and humanity, with all its flaws and all its potential, was ready to answer the call.